Have you ever reached a point in life where you're doing everything right? You're praying, you're making du'a, you're trying to be patient, and yet your chest still feels heavy. Not dramatic heavy, not emotional heavy, just tired heavy. The kind of heaviness that sits quietly inside you when no one is watching. The kind you can't explain without sounding ungrateful. Because you believe in Allah, you trust Him, you know He's capable of everything. So why does it still hurt? There was a time in my life when I felt exactly like that. I was praying, not rushed prayers, real prayers, sujood that lingered, du'a whispered when no one else could hear. I was asking Allah sincerely, with belief, with hope. And yet, days passed, weeks passed, nothing changed. And the scariest part wasn't the waiting. It was the silence inside me. Not silence from Allah, but the quiet exhaustion that makes you wonder, am I doing something wrong? Is my du'a not enough? Why does my heart still feel heavy if Allah is listening? We don't talk enough about this part of faith. We talk about patience. We talk about trust. We talk about miracles. But we don't talk about the space between du'a and relief, where you're still functioning, still showing up, but internally carrying weight. And that space can feel lonely, because you don't want to complain, you don't want to question Allah, you don't want to sound weak. So you carry it quietly. Here's what I had to learn, and it changed everything. Feeling heavy does not mean Allah is displeased with you. Feeling heavy does not mean your du'a is rejected. Feeling heavy does not mean you lack iman. Sometimes, heaviness is not a sign of distance from Allah. Sometimes, it's the place where Allah is working on you, not your situation. We forget something important. Allah doesn't always answer du'a by changing what's around us. Sometimes He answers by strengthening what's within us. And that strengthening process, it's uncomfortable. Because Allah is teaching your heart to stand without guarantees, to trust without timelines, to love Him, not just His gifts. Think about this. If Allah removed every hardship immediately, would we ever learn reliance? If every du'a was answered instantly, would we ever learn surrender? If relief came before transformation, would our hearts ever change? Sometimes Allah delays the ease because He's protecting you from becoming someone who only turns to Him when life is smooth. I realized something painful, but freeing. I wasn't heavy because Allah wasn't listening. I was heavy because Allah was refining me, stripping me of false expectations, teaching me to worship Him not just for outcomes, but for closeness. That kind of faith is not loud. It's not glamorous. It's quiet, private, built in the dark. Even the prophets felt this weight. Yaqub alayhi salam cried until he lost his sight. The prophet felt sorrow so deep, it became known as the year of grief. Were they weak? No, they were human and deeply connected to Allah. Their pain didn't mean Allah abandoned them. It meant Allah trusted them with a heavier test. And here's something we often misunderstand. Allah hears every du'a, but not every du'a is answered in the way we imagine. Some are delayed, some are redirected, some are stored for a day when we'll need them more than we know. And some du'a are answered by Allah saying, "Not yet, because you're becoming." If you're praying and still feel heavy, that doesn't mean stop praying. That means your prayer is carrying you through something unseen. Your sujood is holding you together even when relief hasn't arrived. Your du'a is shaping a future you can't yet recognize. And here's the part that gave me hope. Allah is closest to the hearts that are broken but still turn toward Him. Not the hearts that have it all figured out. Not the hearts that feel strong all the time. But the hearts that say, "Ya Allah, I'm tired, but I still trust you. That is not weakness. That is devotion. So if you're listening to this and you feel heavy, if you're praying and still crying, if you're trusting Allah but quietly struggling, know this: you are not failing. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are in the process. And processes are messy, uncomfortable, unclear. But Allah does not waste sincere hearts. Let me leave you with this question, and don't answer it quickly. Sit with it. If Allah removed the heaviness right now, but left your heart unchanged, would that really be relief? Or is Allah, in His wisdom, using this heaviness to turn you into someone who will one day look back and say, "Now I understand why it had to happen this way"? So here's the question I want you to carry with you. What if the weight you're feeling is not a punishment, but preparation? And who are you becoming while you wait for Allah's answer?